Hey y'all, Farmer Dre back at it. Folks, out here in the tomato greenhouse in the high tunnel, and want to go ahead and show you guys how the tomato plants are looking. But first thing is first, we have to fill up the fertilizer. I'm out here with Isaac. The tank of fertilizer is empty. We're gonna go ahead and fill it up and show you guys the whole process, and of course talk more about these tomatoes, how they're doing, how the production's been. So let's go ahead and get after it. First thing is first, we got to rinse off this cup here. There's bugs and all kinds of insects and critters that get inside there. Realistically, it'd be nice to get a cap on here, you know, so we won't create the algae and stuff. But we're gonna go ahead and take that, empty that outside, and go ahead and get going. So what we do is we clean it out, and then we fill it full of fertilizer. So a 55-gallon drum gets 2 bags of fertilizer. We mix it in there nicely, and then we test it, make sure that the EC is perfect. That's clean up. As I go start filling up, I'm gonna grab the drill and the mixer. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and start filling up the tank there. I actually learned that it's better if I just put this piece of pipe in there so it doesn't create that whole splash there. And I just need to go ahead and get the fertilizer. And 2 bags for us is perfect. Gets the right EC and the right pH. And everything. This is what we've been doing all summer long, all spring long, since first week of March, since we planted these at the middle of March. And the fertilizer that we're using is this Plant Marvel High Cal Vegetable Fertilizer. It is a 12-5-19. Has all the micros and the macros: chelated iron, chelated copper, chelated magnesium, chelated zinc, calcium, potash, all the good stuff on there. And of course, kind of some instructions on how to mix it right there. But for us feeding the tomatoes, we are using 2.2 EC. So as the tank fills up here, both bags of fertilizer going inside, and then we get a concrete construction mixer, mud mixer, drywall mixer. What do you call it, Isaac?
Just a mixer.
Just a mixer on these drills, and then we mix up nicely before it gets too deep, and we don't want the drill to rust. So just get that put on top of there, and then you just start mixing. You want to mix very well. If you don't mix it, then whenever that injects on the bottom, it gets the if you let the fertilizer on the bottom, then whenever it's sucking, the concentration of the fertilizer is a lot stronger on the bottom. Then whenever you keep on going with the fertilizer, it's going to continue to dilute. So the fertilizer on top of the barrel is going to be less powerful than the fertilizer on the bottom of the barrel there. So getting it nice and mixed and perfect is what we need. So Isaac will just continue to mix it here, nice and slow, continuously make sure it breaks down, and try to get it as low as you can to get the bottom all mixed up while we can before the water fills up there. So that's what's important whenever you set up your irrigation system, is you build a valve right off your hydrant or your water source, so you have enough fresh water to fill up that tank and be able to mix that fertilizer properly. Like I said, the only thing we've been feeding these tomatoes is that 12-5-19. Nothing else, nothing more. I know for certain hydroponic systems or hybrid systems, you get fertilizer with calcium nitrate with magnesium sulfate, but this thing, on this fertilizer, we are just using this High Cal Mag 12-5-19. The weather out here in Southwest Missouri has been very, very warm, and then next week they're calling for an extreme heat wave. They're saying it might be one of the hottest Julys in history. Now you get the humidity and the heat mixed in together. That's the hard part, is the humidity. For example, if it's going to be 97, 98 degrees next week, but then you get the humidity out there and it's just so muggy and humid and sticky that you can only work in the mornings. In the afternoon, there's no way you can be working outside. It's just so hot. So generally, we put on a shade cloth on these tunnels. Like I've shown you guys in the previous video, we do have our shade cloth on the 3rd tunnel there. But for these tomatoes, I was surprised how much pollination we have gotten so far up to this year in the season. So there's still a bunch of green tomatoes on these plants, so we're probably not gonna go ahead and put the shade cloth on here. Generally for us, into September, tomato sales and produce sales in general is really tanks down. When it comes to fresh produce, watermelons, cantaloupes, zucchini, squash, cucumbers, that kind of stuff really slows down for us. And then we transition to our fall. with our fall festival. So we really don't want to have too many tomatoes in September and October, but we'll leave these plants in here and let them be and let them continue to grow. But I don't want a ton of tomatoes to have in September and October, because then I don't have a home for them unless we sell them wholesale. But so far we've been extremely happy with this production on these plants, and the size of the fruit has been amazing. So Isaac just got done mixing it all here. Gonna go ahead and leave that mixture in here. I'm not even sure, is that for concrete or mortar? I mean, I have no idea what what's
it works though.
We just leave it in here, and then we just continue to fill this up. I put this pipe in here that you take on and off just because it likes to foam up on top of there if you don't. So you can just leave it in there or take it out. I just leave it in there majority of the time. Put it in there. Put the fertilizer tube in there. Turn on that valve. That timer was on and it was running on empty. So it is currently, what time is it, Isaac? Open the box up. It was 12:10, so we're going fertilizing 15 minutes. So I'm gonna manually turn it off for a few more minutes, because it take us a little bit to get this fertilizer tank full. But we got these 2 timers here, run by that Irrigation rain dial timer. We're watering 6 times a day, so 8 in the morning, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6 for 15 minutes. And like I said, if it gets really cloudy for an extended period of time, then they're getting too much water. But if it's hot and sunny like today, then the plants have perfect amount of water. So I just leave it at 15 minutes every 6 times a day. So if I do see if it gets really cloudy, then I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down to 10 minutes. But so far these tomatoes have been doing great. These are still green here on top, obviously, but look at this, massive tomatoes, and there's more getting ripe. Jet was in here picking, so like this one right here he could have picked, but we're gonna leave it for another day. Jet picked 24 boxes. So we have so many tomatoes that we needed a home for them. So I called one of my friends and he ordered 24 boxes off of me, and Jet is grading them and put them in boxes. So another, well, 24 times 30 pounds a box. I had to do the math there, Isaac.
24 times 30?
It's like 400 something pounds or more. So Jet just came in here and picked, and then he's grading these tomatoes. So I stand corrected, that's 720 pounds of tomatoes. Jet just got done picking out here. But overall, these tomatoes are doing great. They're really tall. Like I mentioned, we don't have any more room. We could have gone one more string here on these T-posts. But overall, these plants are about full mature. They're about chest high, you know, so they're about 6 foot tall here. The green tomatoes are still coming on really good. Usually, last year when I was just planting in the soil, the late tomatoes this time of year were just getting really small. But the tomatoes that are coming out of here are still fairly large. I mean, they're large tomatoes. They're not the extra large or the jumbos that we were picking at the beginning of the season. But you can see here, green tomatoes still coming on. The plants are still fairly healthy, but they're coming towards the end of the cycle. So we'll probably be picking for another 3-4 weeks out of here. Look at this, folks. So another 3-4 weeks picking out of here, and then we'll be about done. But in 3-4 weeks, it'll be the last week of August anyway. So here, as I put those in the, give these to Jet so we can,
Carolina Golds.
Yeah, Carolina Golds, Red Deuce, best tomato. We got some disease issues going on here, but we already picked all the tomatoes off the bottom there. So it's not really worth spraying anymore. If I saw this disease or the insect pressure early on in the season, then we would spray. But since we're going towards the tail end of the season, I really don't see it feasible to spray a fungicide or an insecticide application, because it is just so expensive to spray those chemicals. And if the tomatoes that are still coming out are still looking very good, then there's no points of spraying. But you can see here, we just got some brand new pollinated tomatoes here, so those are gonna be nice, good sized tomatoes. And of course we got some medium sized ones that we're still picking a lot. So it is looking good. It's like a jungle in here. It is hot, it is muggy. These tomatoes are loving the heat, but it comes to a time with tomato growing that everybody's kind of sick of tomatoes for the year. You can only have tomatoes for a few months, and then the hype is over. So it is we're about peak production right now. I guess everybody in the gardens has tomatoes now, so everybody's just covered with tomatoes, and that's gonna go for another few weeks. Then after that, once it starts cooling off for fall, everybody throws out the tomatoes and gets apples and cider and all the other good fall stuff going. Alrighty folks, out here under the porch, of our warehouse. This is where we sell the lemonade and kettle corn. But during the summer, we use it as our grading station. So Jet got done picking 24 boxes of tomatoes off of how many rows, Jet? 3 rows?
Yep.
3 rows, and he picked a bunch on Monday, and we're still selling off the 3,000 pounds we picked about 10 days ago. So they're still looking good. But I went ahead and called up one of my friends who has produce stands in Springfield. He has a peddler stands. He's got 3 of them, and I'm gonna go ahead and sell 24 boxes wholesale. The price isn't that good, but at least I'm moving the product and I'm able to stay on top of the fresh stuff. So these are all gonna be going, we're grading them, but I told him they're field runs, grabbing everything out of the field and putting in the box. So like the smaller ones, they're really tiny ones we're not putting in there, or the ones that are too cracked or dinked up. But in the general sense, they're all pretty good here. So like all these tiny ones we're not putting in there clearly, but like this right here, perfect tomato. That's more of a small. We got, see that one just too, I don't know, Jet, what do you think?
Too ugly.
For a field run?
I don't know.
I would eat that tomato every day.
Yeah, Jet, but whereas he's selling to city folks, Jet. These are city folks. See, that's a perfect tomato right there. So all these really tiny ones are not putting in there. Jet's pigs are gonna have a feast tonight, Jet. This gonna be their 3,000 box of rotten produce this season, but they're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
Look at that, perfect. Pick today, shipping out tomorrow morning. Oh boy, that's not good, Jet.
What's wrong with it?
It's got cracks. Isaac, why do the tomatoes crack so much?
Too much water.
But you know why? It's been cloudy. I gotta go in there and adjust the fertilizer rate, but
Adjust the sunlight.
adjust the sunlight. No, if it'll stay sunny. You know, it's been a weird summer. Usually, it adjusts the sunlight. These boys are.
You can put the shade cloth.
But well, the shade cloth, yeah, that is true. The shade cloth is on the other tunnel, but it's been so cloudy and wet, and then on and off compared to last year. Last year just stayed hot and dry all summer long. I'm not a big fan of irrigation, but I wouldn't mind. I really don't mind a dry summer because we have plenty of water in the wells and drip tape on all the apple trees in the whole orchard. But when it comes to cloudy days, we're still pumping fertilizer and water to them continuously 6 times a day. If it stays cloudy, then we're putting on too much water, but then if the sun comes out, we're not putting on enough water. So that's how you find every once in a while a cracked one or one that doesn't look too good. But I say overall, these are looking awesome. All right, so here we go, a graded box of field run tomatoes here. These boxes are 20 to 25 pounds, well, more like 30 pounds. Tomatoes are pretty heavy, so it's like 30 pounds, 25 to 30 pounds. We're getting rid of it for $20 a box. It's really cheap, but whenever you got a tunnel producing gobs and gobs of tomatoes, you gotta find a home for them. So, you know.
It's not leaking yet, but
Yeah,
it's
it's still cracked. Yeah, it's gonna go back pretty quick. So we got good old, it's Jet, the tomato farmer Jet.
It has a little crack, but it's leaking.
The leakage for the hogs or the canners. Jet, are we growing cherry tomatoes or what's going on here, Jet? But overall, I mean, they're nice, good looking tomato. Look at this whopper. Jeez. Woo-wee. That's extra large. We got some jumbos.
Oh, look at that one.
Whoa. Oh yeah, look at that. Holy moly, that's the size of my hand. That is looking great. It's a great farm fresh tomato. Perfect. Folks, these red deuce are legit. Isaac, tell them about the tomato varieties we're growing this year.
Red Deuce and Carolina Gold.
So what have we tried other varieties?
It's not worth it. Not the production, not the quality, not the flavor we like. These 2 are the best.
Next year I'm gonna try some other yellow varieties that are more firm. But Carolina Gold's been a great variety. I actually took 180 pounds to a produce auction of just yellows, and they did okay. They didn't do the best. But getting a lot of these small tomatoes, and Joe was just telling me that
My grandma would mash all those up, make salsa, tomato soup, spaghetti sauce. Gotta put them all to use.
I do gotta say, these tomatoes look pretty good. Oh yeah.
Compared to other years, this is really good because I don't know. I think in years past there's been entire boxes of that.
Unwanted, small.
Yeah. Over at Val's High Tunnel and
The three tunnels we had out here.
Would not produce anywhere near.
So this year we only planted 1 tunnel of tomatoes, 504 plants, and we already outproduced the years when we had 2 or 3. Wow. Look at these farm fresh tomatoes.
Like
little's like
Bologna.
if it's what's it called? Golf ball size. That's too small.
I mean, not.
Oh my, look at these ones, Jet. Big whoppers. Nothing better than vine-ripened maters. People don't like to pick them this red, but we do.
Sometimes when they're perfectly ripe, it makes an accident more likely.
Yeah.
Poking it or something.
Poking it tends to happen. Look at this, folks. Perfect 1.5-pound tomato. And there's a lot of these in the first harvest.
Oh yeah.
When you first started picking, look at this. Whoppers. Wow. We're gonna put these on top, huh, Jet? I don't know if you
don't want him getting squished.
These tomatoes, folks, are just absolutely perfect. My goodness, not a single scratch, dent. Perfect dark red. Folks, these Red Deuce is where it's at. Red Deuce tomatoes. If you haven't grown some, try some. They are the best high tunnel garden field tomato out there. The 14 boxes are done. I think he's gonna be impressed by these tomatoes, Isaac. He's gonna say like, he's gonna be mesmerized. He's gonna be wowed by these tomatoes. Wow.